All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Green Bay Packers in tonight's video. This team is 11-4. They're coming off a 34-0 home victory, the first shutout of the NFL season a couple of nights ago. Big time matchup on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, as a Packers fan, at this point of the season, I'm not worried about the seed. I'm not worried about who we're playing on the road because the Packers are officially eliminated from NFC North contention. I'm not worried about matchups. I don't really care about any of this stuff. There's two big games left on the slate here. Starts in a couple of days from now on the road against the Minnesota Vikings, and then the finale at home against the Chicago Bears. Neither of those two game specific score outcomes worry me in the sense because, first off, Green Bay's making the playoffs. And like we saw last year, I mean, I'm born and raised from the era, and a lot of Packers fans are as well. With Aaron Rodgers, the last Packers Super Bowl, you make the playoffs, anything can happen. But there's something special about this Green Bay Packers team, whether it's going to be this year, whether it's going to be next year, whether it's going to be the next decade. This Packers team has currently scored 30 or more points in 5 consecutive games. Since week 12, that's when the 30-plus streak began. And it started with a 38-10 victory over the San Francisco 49ers, which just, once again, if you're a Packers fan, that one felt the best. That was awesome. I don't care who's injured. I don't care who's not playing. I don't care if San Francisco is eliminated from the playoffs. I don't really care. A 38-10 victory against San Francisco, that's something I'm going to take, even if it's preseason football, folks. That's how much I hate that team because of the Rodgers era. But, folks, before we get any further into tonight's video, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring it. More on that in a few minutes. But, folks, if you're trying to get this video to 100 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So, since week 12, where this 30 or more points streak began, the Packers actually rank second to the Buffalo Bills in points per game at 32.6. They're also 8th in the league in rushing yards per game at 142. They have the 4th lowest percentage of rushes for 0 or fewer yards. Josh Jacobs has just taken this team truly to the next level. And we know Jordan Love's a really good quarterback, and we know it could be Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Tucker Kraft, Dontavian Wicks. We know it can be a multitude of different players on a week-to-week basis as far as the receiving game goes for our hopeful and pretty much established star-level quarterback in Jordan Love. But Josh Jacobs truly does take this team to that next level, and he's really helped with the red zone. The Packers rank second in red zone percentage at 78.3 after being 27th in the first 11 weeks of the season. So in this 5-game streak of scoring 30 or more, they're second in red zone percentage. In the first 11 weeks, they were 27th. Jordan Love has also been sacked only 3 times, and the Packers' 2.3% sack percentage is the second lowest in the NFL in that span. All right, guys, before we get back to this video, once again, shout out to BetUS for sponsoring it. We're over here on their website looking at the NFC conference winner for this season. I got the Green Bay Packers slotted in here, or they have the Green Bay Packers slotted in here at plus 600. I'm a biased Green Bay Packers fan, so I could easily see this team winning the NFC conference. But if that also interests you, I'm just throwing it out there. It's available to you over on betus.com. That's it. Keep in mind, though, they are offering a 150% bonus on your first deposit and 125% bonus on your next 2, all with the code YouTube150. Let's get back to the video. Now, we're coming off a 34-0 domination beatdown against the New Orleans Saints. And I don't care, it's the New Orleans Saints. It was the first shutout of the NFL season. It clinched the Packers postseason spot for the second straight year. And for 2 straight years, they are the NFL's youngest team. And so for me, that's enough. Whether it's this year, whether it's next year, whether it was last year, this Packers team is here to stay, right? That's been established. And the big knock on this team is, well, who have you beaten? You lost to Philly in Brazil in week 1. You lost with a non-fully healthy Jordan Love in the first match against Minnesota in the 4th week of the season. And then you have 2 crushing losses to the Detroit Lions. So that's why they're not in NFC North contention. And it's also just an insane season. Both Minnesota and Detroit are 13-2. Kind of hard to keep up with that in general, let alone one team, but especially 2 teams. But the Packers winning against Minnesota on the road in Week 17, it would go a very long way as far as NFL media world establishing credibility that, hey, you know what? Even though we all know this Packers team can make a run, even though that they're 0-4 against the top of the NFC this season, we know they can make a run. But what the world is waiting for is a victory in Week 17 against this Viking squad. But Monday night was really special because the Packers, like we said, just clinched their postseason berth. And it was the team's first shutout since Week 10 in 2021 with Matt LaFleur, and their second in 6 seasons with Matt LaFleur as the coach, right? And like we said a couple of minutes ago, this was the first shutout in the NFL this entire season. According to Next Gen Stats, the Packers pressured Spencer Rattler. So I get it. It was Spencer Rattler, Kamara didn't play, Chris Olave didn't play. I get it. Derek Carr's injured. The Saints are decimated offensively. They still actually have a pretty decent, coherent defense, but 34-0 for the first shutout, right? According to Next Gen Stats, the Packers pressured Spencer Rattler 20 times for a season-high 52.6% pressure rate. 8 defensive linemen had multiple pressures. Brenton Cox, Florida Gator legend, had 6. Last year's 2023 first-round pick Lucas Van Ness had 5. Rashawn Gary had 4. Devontae Wyatt had 3. This defense is playing out of their minds. They truly are. Zane Anderson just had his first ever NFL interception. This defense has so much depth. Jair Alexander's been hurt. Evan Williams is missing a game. Javon Bullard hasn't played in a couple of weeks. This defense is Preston Smith was traded like a little over a month ago. People don't even remember. I don't even remember Preston Smith was a member of this team anymore. No disrespect or shade to him. It's just he didn't fit the scheme, but a lot of these other guys do fit the scheme. So it's this defense. Jeff Hafley, the new defense coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, has this defense playing on a completely different level. But the one nitpick people had with the Green Bay Packers wasn't even necessarily defensive, right? Xavier McKinney, all-pro, most likely. Josh Jacobs has been a star. What most people were concerned about with the Green Bay Packers, because most people are looking for clicks, right? I host a TV show. Let's say I was ESPN. I host a TV show. We need people to watch this. We need clicks. We need social media, YouTube videos, or, just views in general. I'm getting on a little bit of a tangent, but you get my point here. Jordan Love through week 11 was tied for the most interceptions in the league with 11. But if you were a Green Bay Packers fan or you're watching these games, no one was really concerned about it. Monday night against the Saints marked his 5th straight game without an interception. That is the longest streak of his entire NFL career as a starter. So offense, defense, special teams with Brandon McManus, I feel awesome about this Packers team. Win or lose in Week 17 a couple of days from now against Minnesota, I still feel really good about this Packers team. And I'm curious how far you guys see this Packers team making it in the playoffs. Let me know down below. Thank you for watching. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring it, and we will see you in a couple of days. Peace.